Hey everybody, JC here in Wichita, Kansas. Happy Wednesday afternoon. It's about 1:15. About to go do a little bit of Tesla FSD version 13.2.8 driving to the Wichita Dwight D Eisenhower Airport and see how it does at Wichita's airport. Let's go. Push the little blue button. Pulling out of the hotel parking lot. Come up to the roundabout that they have here in front of the hotel. And coming to the end of the hotel parking lot. And we'll take a right up here at the stop sign to get on 21st Street. And won't be there very long, because then we'll take a right to get on the feeder for Highway 98 eastbound going towards the Wichita Airport. So yeah, the FSD drive that I wanted to do today, since I'm in a brand new city, I mean, granted, it's my second time. All right, we got a red light. You could turn right on red in Kansas. I did verify that. Was waiting to see any oncoming vehicles. There were none, so we headed on out. All right, we're on the on-ramp for 98 East. Got a little merge-in lane here. I like that. Lets you gradually merge when we get over. So yeah, since seeing that this is just my second time in Wichita, and I've never been to their airport, just wanted to see how Tesla FSD would do at the Wichita airport. Anybody that watches my FSD videos knows that in my hometown area, the city of Houston, the big enchilada, if you will, is our airport, Houston Bush Intercontinental. For a lot of different reasons that I won't bore you with on this video, but just take my word for it. It's complicated, complex, nuanced. And yeah, even though Tesla FSD version 13.2.8 is doing fantastic at the Houston airport, and in fact, the last handful of times I've been there, no critical interventions, basically no interventions whatsoever, even non-critical. But there are a couple of terminals that, due to the amount of construction and everything that's going on, unfortunately at this point, with where the functionality is in the software, it does take a non-critical intervention in order to even get to certain places at the Houston airport. Most notably, there's a couple of arrival areas at our airport that just aren't even on the map right now. And so you can't even drop a manual pin to go there. So you essentially are forced to manually intervene. All right, we're getting on 400 West. And this will be the road that actually takes us to the airport. But yeah, it requires a manual intervention. Granted, it's non-critical in nature, and it's something that, you know, could easily be taken care of by teleoperation. but you hope one day, once all the construction is completed, or even before the construction is completed, that the system could get developed to a point where you would not even need that outside influence, that non-critical manual intervention, if you will. But that's the Houston airport. And so I want to see what the Wichita airport is like. So, interesting thing I already noted about the Wichita airport is that when you pull up the navigation as a destination, it has sub-destinations. It asks you, okay, great, we know exactly where the Wichita airport is, but specifically, here are the different sub-destinations you can choose to go to. Arrivals, departures, rental car, a bunch, like 8 or 9 different spots at the airport. You can have it as a sub-destination. That does not exist at the Houston Bush Intercontinental Airport right now. And so that was kind of cool to see that. So what I've selected for today is to keep it true to what like a robo-taxi might do, a Tesla Cybercab, or even a unsupervised Model 3 or Model Y in a robo-taxi network. How it would do. Picking somebody up at the hotel, taking them to the airport, which would be a very typical thing. The hotel that I'm staying at is obviously a traveler's hotel. And so this would be presumably a pretty routine trip to go from the Hilton in Wichita to the Wichita airport and specifically be dropped off, take you right to the departures area. But then what I also did, since this is a robo-taxi, a driverless robo-taxi, is that immediately after dropping somebody off at the airport, after having picked them up back at our hotel, drop them off at the airport to catch their flight, then the Cybercab or Model 3, Model Y driverless robo-taxi would then go right over to the arrival section and pick up somebody else, pick up a different person who's just arrived in Wichita, pick them up at the arrivals area, and then take them to the hotel. Now, the only difference I'm going to do today is that after that, I'm going to go to a Tesla Supercharger that I've never visited before. It's the Tesla Supercharger in Dorado, Kansas. And then right after that, go to the hotel. But that could presumably, you're probably not going to charge up while you have a passenger on board, so that'd be the only difference. But still, obviously, going back to the hotel. So that's how I've done the destinations for today, is I chose the Wichita airport, and then I chose 2 sub-destinations back to back. First, departures, and then arrivals. And then the final the next destination is the Tesla Supercharger in Dorado, Kansas. And the only reason I chose that, it's actually not the one closest to it. It's actually there's 2 Tesla Superchargers in the Wichita area. The one that is in the southern part of Wichita, which is actually closer to the airport. But I've been there a couple of times already. In fact, I think I've been there 3 times. All right, we've got some, we've got some police lights up here. This will be interesting right here. See what we're doing. Slow down a little bit, but that's probably more due, I don't know. And so that was not emergency vehicle, that was police lights, but they went the other direction. We did slow down, but honestly, you don't have to slow down for a police ahead of you with their sirens on. But nonetheless, folks obviously slowed down a bit. We slowed down behind them. Look at that. Beautiful Tesla Model 3 right there, a white Model 3. So yeah, when I selected the Wichita Airport, I first selected the departures area and then the arrivals area and then the Tesla Supercharger in El Dorado. And like I was saying, I've been to the Tesla Supercharger in South Wichita probably about 3 times now. So it's good, it's great. And I know it well. I'm pretty sure they're all 150s. So my bet is that was the very first Supercharger installed in the Wichita. All right, we're slowing down here. Had some road work there to the right. We could not get immediately over to the left due to the vehicle there, but we now do. But did a great job there. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that the Supercharger station in South Wichita is all 150s. I know the ones I used are 150s, and I looked around to see if any of them might be 250s, and I didn't see any at that time. And even if there might have been, I'm pretty sure they were downgraded to 150, because I don't think anybody was pulling anything stronger than 150 out of those. Nonetheless, good to go. I mean, when you're in Wichita and you need a Supercharger, 150 is fine. But there is another Tesla Supercharger in the Wichita area. That one that I was just speaking of, it's on Broadway Avenue in Wichita, and it's in, like I said, South Wichita. It's actually within the Wichita city limits, so it's probably the one that most people would use. It's more central. And like I said, judging from the 3 times I've been there, my guess is it was highly likely one of the earlier Tesla Superchargers installed, being that they're all 150s, and I could kind of tell from the infrastructure. They look great, but you could kind of tell they've been there for a while. And so now there's a second Tesla Supercharger, but it is, I want to say, on the northeast side of town, but technically it's not even within Wichita. Like I said, it's in a location called El Dorado, Kansas. Now, that being said, it's only about 10 miles outside of Wichita. So my guess is that most people that live on the north or northeast side of the greater Wichita area and have Teslas and ever need to supercharge, that's the one that they highly likely use, because it's just as close to them there as it would be going down to South Wichita. So, yeah. So if you're in Wichita, Kansas, and you own a Tesla or are interested in Teslas, there are definitely 2 dedicated Tesla Superchargers available to you. The other thing about the one in El Dorado is they are all 250s. So that's even better. Pulls power a lot faster. So I've never been to that one, so we're going to try that one out after the airport today. All right, we're getting over to make our exit here pretty soon, I believe. I've got the full FSD visual up right now. And like I said, this is my very first time ever going out to the Wichita Airport. So we're experiencing this for the first time together, if you've also never been. So I do not know what to expect. All I did is put it in the navigation. So we're going straight here. Go by the dump truck. So that is the FSD drive today. Like I said, I figured there's a handful of things that anybody living in Wichita or around the Wichita area that owns a Tesla and is interested in FSD or is interested in autonomy in general. You don't own a Tesla, but you're interested in vehicle autonomy and what the future is likely to behold. I figured while I'm here with my wife, while she's on a work trip and I'm accompanying her, I ought to try out those handful of drives. All right, we are taking a left towards the Eisenhower National Airport, named after one of our great presidents, General Dwight D. Eisenhower, Ike, as he was known back in the day, Supreme Commander of the Allied Forces during World War II, the architect of D-Day, and one of our U.S. presidents. Forgive me, I don't remember the specific number president he was. I want to say he was our 34th president, but I could be wrong. Could have been a little earlier than that. All right, as you can see, we're heading towards the Wichita, Kansas, Dwight D. Eisenhower National Airport. Slowing down quite a bit here. It is picking up on the speed limit signs properly. Got UPS over there. That makes sense. And FedEx. So that makes all the sense in the world that UPS and FedEx would have big facilities over here, especially in Wichita, in the middle of the country. That's some pretty big facilities over there. All right. See, we're coming into the airport. Got some traffic to our left. They are yielding to us. And we're doing a great job with the speed selection. It's definitely picking up on the speed limit signs, all of them. All right. Made our way into the airport. Now it's got to take us to the departures area. Let's see how we do here. Putting on the blinker. Excellent job. Excellent job. So we have made it to the departures area of the Dwight D. Eisenhower National Airport perfectly. Literally dropped somebody off right at that door right there. Now, we're going to go pick some. Now, I just realized Arrivals is right there. So we are not talking. This is not DFW. This is not O'Hare. This is not Houston Bush Intercontinental. But in fairness to them, why don't we go ahead and try to get over to Arrivals? I mean, we could pick them up right here too. So it does not have its own separate section. It is in the same area, but let's just see what it does. You know, we'll be courteous. Come on over for them as well. We got a lady with her door sticking out, so we move over for them. And we come over to the Arrivals area. And we do the exact same thing. You do not have to walk. So all of you in Wichita, Kansas, you do not have to walk to your Cybercab. It will come to you even after it's dropped somebody off. All right. Well, let's head on out of the airport and go to the Supercharger. Well, is it going to continue on? let's do this. That was funny. All right, now we go. I don't know what was going on there. So I already had it in as a destination, and I hit the blue button to continue the trip, but it needed me to exit out and re-enter. That can happen sometimes. Like I said, it's, you know, that obviously is not FSD related. That's not even navigation related. That's just some little quirk in setting multiple destinations. I don't worry about that at all. All right. Now, the lane selection here, not so good. Well, I mean, it got over, but technically we should not have been in that rightmost lane right there, because it does turn into a right turn only lane. So a little bit of a lane snafu right there, but obviously not a huge deal because we did get over, and it was a white line. So technically, you know, they don't give you a heads up until you see the paint on the road. So nothing wrong there nuance wise or even legal wise, but again, as it gets better and better and better, it probably should pick up on things like that, maybe, you know, 40 to 50 feet sooner. Man, I'm really picking if I'm like, you should have changed that lane about 30 feet beforehand. All right. Picking up on the speed limit signs really, really well. Good speed selection through here. It's being very cognizant, and it's at an airport. We are in the hurry mode with a 50% max speed offset. So we've got all the bells and whistles turned up to 11. And as you can see, it acted very nicely within the confines of the airport. You couldn't even tell it was on hurry mode in the airport. Got all the speed limit signs, stayed fairly slow, stayed to the, tried to get over to the right most of the way. So great touch there, Tesla AI. Freddy's. If y'all like Freddy's, I'll tell you something interesting. Wichita, Kansas is the hometown of Freddy's. It's where it started. The guy, Freddy himself, was a farm boy here in Kansas. And so this is where Freddy's began. This is their home. Wichita is their hometown. And Kansas is where the magic of Freddy's Burgers and Freddy's Custard began. Little factoid, if you didn't know that, now you know. My little Cliff Clavin factoid for the day. And if any of you know me by now, that will not be the last Cliff Clavin factoid you'll get from me before the day's out. All right. We have left the airport. So Tesla FSD did perfect, did fantastic at the airport. Absolutely fantastic. Didn't even make you walk the 40 yards from the arrivals area over to the departures area, and pulled over to the curb perfectly at each of the sub destinations. I'm like, wow. To see that happen at an airport is really nice coming from Houston. Now, as you could all see there, you know, that was not the most complicated airport in the world. But I want you to be cognizant of this. Wichita, the greater Wichita area, Wichita is a town of 500,000 to 600,000 people. It's the largest city in the state of Kansas. There are many more Wichitas than there are Houstons or Chicagos or LA's or Dallas-Fort Worth's or New York's. For every Dallas or Houston or LA, there are 10 to 20 Wichitas. There are many more airports throughout our country that are like the Dwight D. Eisenhower National Airport in Wichita, Kansas, than there are like the George Bush Intercontinental Airports in Houston, Texas. Many more. Now, I'll be the first to admit, Cybercabs and robo taxis will get a lot more utility in a place like Houston or Dallas, Fort Worth, DFW, or Los Angeles, or San Francisco, Chicago, New York. But again, once you start adding up how many airports throughout our country are just like Wichita's airport, you're going to get just as much traffic, if not more. So you can see it worked perfectly there. The only snafu was the destination stuff, the destination on the UI. That wasn't even FSD or navigation related. That was just some little bug in having multiple destinations on the UI. Because you saw, as soon as I just exited out of that and re-entered the Supercharger, it was good to go. Awesome. And that was my first time at that airport. It looked like a nice airport. It looked like they've either constructed that recently, or it had a nice refurbishment, because it had a nice. I've never been inside, seeing that was my first time ever there. So I haven't been inside. Presuming it looks nice inside as well, but beautiful building from the outside. One other thing I noticed that was pretty interesting is both FedEx and UPS and the U.S. Post Office, all three of them, had pretty good sized facilities there, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, Wichita, Kansas, you're basically smack dab in the middle of the country. So probably a lot of volume flowing through here. So yeah, now we are just gonna go check out a new Tesla Supercharger. Well, let me rephrase that. Not a new Tesla Supercharger. It's been there. New to me. A Tesla Supercharger that I have never visited before. So I love to see, anytime I get a chance, if I'm going to charge up anyway, I like to, if I can do it, go see a new one. I've seen many a Superchargers throughout this great country of ours. And so this will add to the list, the Dorado Tesla Supercharger. And the reason why I want to go to a Tesla, the second reason. The first reason is I want to go visit this Supercharger, see what it looks like. The second reason is my wife and I are actually departing Wichita tomorrow and heading back to Texas. So I want to get back up to a higher charge. See, I don't actually need to. I mean, we're at 31% now. I would have probably pulled back into the hotel at about 28, 29. Which, as all of y'all in the Tesla community know, if you're staying around Wichita, that would have been fine for a couple more days. And there is a destination charger at my hotel. Very good destination charger. I want to give a shout out to Blink. They have 4 destination chargers located there directly at my hotel. All 4 of them work great. I've used all 4 of them off and on. Not on this trip, But the last time I was here when we had that deep freeze, and they work great. A bit on the expensive side. I want to say that my average cost was about 50 cents a kilowatt. But hey, it's a destination charger. You're at a hotel, and if it's, you know, that with all the elements that were going on during our last trip, the bad weather elements, you do what you got to do. And Blink was there for me and worked. So that's exactly what you want them for. You're not looking for the lowest possible cost, right? And honestly, 50 cents isn't that out of whack at a destination charger. You know, one thing I should have checked on last time I was there is whether there was any special rate that I could have gotten as a patron of that Hilton. I probably could have, but quite honestly, I'm just going to be blunt, and this is probably a bougie thing to say. I probably got a total of, how many? I probably pulled like 70 to 80 kilowatts from them the total time I was there. So we're talking about $35 worth of charging. And even if there would have been a discount on it from the hotel, you know, I wasn't that concerned with it at that time. Now, if I was doing that repetitively, like if I was using one of those destination chargers repetitively, which I may in the future, I probably will check with Hilton and see, hey, is there some sort of discount that we get on the destination charging with the Blink chargers there on your property if we're a patron of the hotel. But I haven't used them at all this trip, just because it's just been so beautiful and I get out and about. So, and like I said, about to get charged up at the El Dorado Tesla Supercharger. So I'll go ahead and top off over there, and then we'll have a good charge. Granted, I'll use a little bit of it to get back to the hotel. You know, probably whatever I top off at the Tesla Supercharger in El Dorado, it's about 10 miles back to the hotel. So I'll probably lose, you know, about 3%, 3 or 4%. Not a big deal. But then we'll be more ready tomorrow to get on the road. Let's see, we're taking this exit, I believe. No, we're not. We were just getting over to the right. All right, continuing on through here. Yeah, so we're departing. My wife is going to the office, her company's office here in Wichita tomorrow morning, and needs to take care of a couple of things. And I believe she's actually having us take some stuff from the office, from this office here in Wichita, back over to Houston. All right, we're getting off on the exit we got a toll road here. Let's see, looks like we're gonna go straight, go 35 north to Kansas City, slowing down a bit going through here. But yeah, she wants, they are opening up a brand new office for her company in Houston, specifically in the Woodlands area. So her new office is going to be her day-to-day office. Her actual home office will be in the Woodlands, which you've seen me do FSD drives to before. So I'll be doing more Woodlands driving with her. They're opening up that office, I believe, sometime at the beginning of April But they've already got the office space. They just haven't opened it up. They don't have it ready yet for people to move in. But there's some stuff that they have here in the Wichita office that they want to move over to the Houston office. And so we're going to transport that for them. So I will pick that up in the morning. All right, let's see what we're doing here. We're going to move over to the left. There we go. And it's showing that we will be here on this highway for the next 12 miles. And then we'll end up at the Supercharger. But yeah, I'll head over there in the morning to pick that up, as well as pick her up and bring her back. She's actually got a company vehicle that she's using during her visit up here. So I will go pick her up in the morning, and we'll pick up whatever it is they need for me to transport. We'll head back to the hotel. I'm presuming we'll head back to the hotel, get packed up, and head on back to H-Town. Yeah, she'll need to go into the office in the morning anyway to check back in the company vehicle. I think she's got a couple of quick things she needs to take care of in the office anyway, and then to pick up whatever it is they need me to transport. And then unless she's able, I could probably check us out before I head up. Although, yeah, you know, I may look into that, because that would save us a little, not a lot. I mean, we're not that, her office is only about 5 or 6 miles from the hotel. But yeah, I'll check with her, see if she wants me to check us out in the morning before I leave to come pick her up. Man, look at this. Yeah, this is this is not a big test of Tesla FSD. Can you go straight and stay within a white line and a yellow line? But this is what a lot of FSD driving is going to be right here. This is the road. If you're going from Wichita to Kansas City, this is the road you're going to be on. Looks like we got about 8.5 more miles to the Supercharger. Got some work trucks to the right. Our speed selection through here is great. So this is a 75 mile per hour speed limit zone. We're going 84. Go at the work trucks with the John Deere. And there's another John Deere tractor. Get past them. Yeah, so our speed selection is just great right now. You can see it, we're 83, 84 right now. As you know, or maybe you didn't know, even though I've got it at 50% max speed offset, Tesla FSD is maxed out at 85 miles an hour. So no matter what road you are on, FSD will not take you faster than 85. So, yeah, think about it. Obviously, it's not using the 50% max speed offset right now because we're not going over 100 miles an hour. Nor should we be. All right, passing by some semis. maintaining a great speed. There we go. Put on the right blinker as we got around him. Get over in the right lane. Great job. Very human-like. All right, got about 5.5 miles till the Supercharger. Yeah, just look how wide open this is out here. And I mean, right now, I am realistically only about maybe 10 miles outside of Wichita right now. So, a lot of land out here. Very wide. Definitely see the horizon. I really like it here in Kansas, though. Great people. Everybody's just been super, super nice. Again, it's my second visit up here in 3 weeks. It was about 3 weeks ago that I was up here last. That was my first visit ever. My first visit ever to Kansas. I'd never even been to the state of Kansas, let alone Wichita. So I've enjoyed it. All right, looks like we've got a police vehicle has pulled over a semi up ahead. Let's see how we handle this. We're getting over to the left. Great job. Excellent. So we got over to the left for the parked semi and the police officer. Great job. And then you immediately got back over to the right. Very great. That was excellent. It's exactly what you want to do. Exactly what you want to do. All right, we're getting closer. About 2.5 miles. Showing here, we're going to pull in with about 23%. So, not as far down as I usually like to go. I usually like to get, when I stop at Superchargers on the road, I like to be below 20%. I'm not one of these warriors that goes down below 5%. I've done it before. I've done it. But I generally like to stay somewhere above 10%. So if I pull in at like 11 or like 10 or 11%, that's perfect for me. And the reason that I like pulling in at a low percentage is when you first start charging, it just rips. It goes fast. And I've explained the EV battery chemistry and charging chemistry, or not chemistry, on that electrons before on some prior videos, and not to bore everybody with that again. But yes, the way the charging curve works is the lower charge you arrive at, the faster it charges initially. And then as you fill up, so to speak, as your battery charge gets higher and higher, that charging curve goes down and it goes a little slower. But from like 10 to 40 or 10 to 50%, it just rips. So I've told people before, I charge probably twice as fast from 10 to 60% as you do from 60 to 100%. Like you can probably get from 10 to 50 in about 10 to 50 to, all right, hold on, let me put a pin in that for now, because we are pulling into the area where the Supercharger is, service area. Let's see how we do here. Navigating to the Superchargers. Let's see if I can even see them from here. Oh, there they are. I see them right to our left. Let's see how Tesla FSD does going to the chargers. Does it recognize them? What's it going to do here? Well, here's the funny thing. It is pulling in perfectly to a charger. There's only one issue. It's pulling into the wrong chargers. These are, I don't even know what these are, but these are public chargers. But you probably can't see it in the video, but the Tesla Superchargers are over there to our right. Hey everybody, all done charging up at the Tesla Supercharger. Got up to about 90%. So I'm going to go ahead and call it quits here and head on back to the hotel. So let's get going. All right. Pull out of the Tesla Supercharger. And I did have to manually move about 20 feet from the Chargepoint chargers to the so it pulled me straight into the Chargepoint chargers. All right, let's see how we navigate all the semis coming through here. Doing pretty good. There we go. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit like, I don't know. These Truckstop, these huge, vast parking lots at truck stops with semis can get a little tricky for the navigation, but it did good there. So really the only snafu was it reverse parked me into the wrong chargers. It parked me at the Chargepoint chargers. All right. Still in the merging lane here. That's a long merging lane. Oh, there we go. Now it's about to end. And we get over. We're trying to avoid that semi as long as we can. Great job. See, I got up to about 90%. We were at a Love's truck stop there. And went inside, used the little boy's room, and just walked around a little bit. They actually, it's kind of interesting, at that truck stop right there, and Tesla Supercharger and Chargepoint charger station, I should say that, they had a nice little park. I mean, it's not really, but like a little grassy knoll area that was kind of like a park right by where the charging stations were. And it had like a walking station. So you just kind of walk around. There wasn't much, I mean, just get out there and, you know, take the dogs, let them walk around a bit, do their business, and then folks could walk around it as well. But it had little stations that kind of talked about the history of this area of Kansas, the Turnpike itself. Some pretty interesting factoids. One of which was the Kansas Turnpike is about 250 miles long. So it was built independently of the federal highway system. And a lot of these turnpikes and beltways and whatnot back in the day, they were built in conjunction with the federal highway system, but they were actually built independently. They definitely got some funds from the federal government, but they did it, the majority of their financing through other means, through tolls, obviously, was a big part. And not having to put an individual tax on anyone or even their citizens unless you use the turnpike. So like today, I'm helping pay for the turnpike because I'm driving on it, yet I'm not a citizen of Kansas. So pretty good setup there. But really the most interesting thing I saw was that the entirety of the Kansas Turnpike, and again, can't remember the exact mileage. I want to say it was 266 miles, but whatever it was above 250 miles. The entirety of that, soup to nuts, that was built back in the 1950s, they had it all completed in 22 months. 266 miles of turnpike completed from beginning to end, breaking ground to cars traversing over it repeatedly. 22 months. I mean, now don't get me wrong. I'm going to go out on a limb and say the regulations around the construction industry and road construction in particular in 1958 may have been a little bit more lax than today, maybe even a little more lax than we would even be comfortable with. But still, it didn't even take them 2 years to build the entire Kansas State Turnpike. So think about that. Their return on investment was just incredible. Because you may think, well, I've never even been to Kansas. Okay, well, I guarantee you something you wear or something you eat or something you use day in and day out got transported through Kansas. I guarantee it. Multiple times. Maybe multiple times a day of stuff that's in your refrigerator or stuff that's in your medicine cabinet or stuff that's in your closet or stuff that's in your office. It's coming through Kansas. It's the middle of the country. So part of the price of what you have in your house right now is paying for a toll on this Kansas State Turnpike. So to get that thing done in 22 months and then start earning revenue on it, I mean, I bet you their payback was quick, lightning fast. You know, and then I compare that to like what we do today. I mean, we don't even get things done today. We talk about big mega projects, but we can't even get them started. So it's like, I am not saying for a second that we should go back and readopt the standards of 1958 or 1956 or whatever year it was constructed. It was in the 50s. I believe it was in the mid to late 50s. But I'm not professing that we should go back and readopt those construction standards, because obviously, you know, we've had many technological improvements since then, and we're just different culturally, right? We're not going to accept certain things that were probably accepted in 1958 with men working on a construction site. So, but 22 months compared to like how long it takes us to build anything, let alone 260 plus miles of turnpike. I mean, they've been working on the North Park Drive expansion in my area, and I live in Texas. So I'm I come from one of the least regulated states in the country. And they have been working on the expansion, not new greenfield development, but expansion of about a 3-mile stretch of North Park Drive. And they've already been going at that longer than 22 months. And I am not, again, like I said, the guy out there working, and the gals working on road construction today are salt of the earth. They're just as good or better than the dudes working. And I can say dudes, because there were probably 0 gals. And that's one thing we wouldn't accept today, right? Nobody should be told that they can't do any sort of work if they can do it. But, you know, I'm not saying they're any worse than the guys that constructed this turnpike we're on back in 1958 or 1956. But there's got to be something in how that was managed back then that we could at least look back on in history and say, well, maybe we could readopt that particular part of it or that particular part. I mean, sometimes I think we throw the baby out with the bathwater. All right, looks like we're getting off here, slowing down a bit. All right, there we go. A little cloverleaf exit here. Okay, we're gonna stay towards the right, get on 96. But yeah, I mean, I was flabbergasted. Like all those different stations I was reading, oh, that's pretty cool. So Tawanda, that was the Native American word for bringing two rivers together. And oh wow, bison, you know, and oh, this is the prairie grass can get up to 10 feet long. Wow, that's pretty cool. But then I got to the station and yeah, they built a 260 plus mile road in 22 months, and I was like, what? That's just phenomenal, incredible. Some truck beds on the back of that truck. But yeah, and don't get me wrong, all of the other little tidbits of information on each of the other stations talking about Kansas and the history of Kansas, really, really cool. But none of it caught my eye. Like, yeah, and we built this thing that you stopped on in 22 months. Like, wow. I mean, like, history's pretty cool, but recent history can be even cooler. Like, holy moly. All right. Getting off on our exit for 21st Street. Going to take a left underneath the Highway 96 bridge to head over to the hotel. Yeah, we're only about a little over a quarter mile from the hotel now. So yeah, what a great trip. That went to the airport, went to departures and arrivals perfectly. Then went to the Tesla Superchargers in El Dorado, Kansas. And I saw some interesting things there at the Love's Truckstop. Yeah, that wasn't on the bingo card for me to go do some touristy sightseeing at a rural truck stop in Kansas, but yeah, it's pretty cool. Every once in a while, just get out of the Tesla and see what they may have around the little rest area that you're at. Sometimes you might be surprised. They'll have like some historical markers or, you know, little walking trails with stations telling you about the area you're in, the history. Yep. You don't always have to sit in your Tesla while it's charging. Or if you don't use it, if you're got an internal combustion engine, take some time. Like, don't pull over. You're trying to get your rugrats back into your truck or SUV or sedan. Every once in a while, stretch your legs out. You may be surprised what you find. All right. All right, it's going to pull up here right in front of the hotel. There we go. It ends. Let's see if it registers that. No. Did not register that parking spot. It's a little too far away. Yeah, so that's one thing I've noticed about parking spots and Autopark is that the parking spot has to be close enough to be in your UI screen visual. And so when it wanted to park me right in front of the hotel and drop me off, like it's dropped me off at a hotel, which is perfect. If you're in a Cybercab world, that's all you're going to want it to do, is drop you off in front of the hotel. So from a Cybercab robo-taxi standpoint, that's perfect. And like I said, we do not have parking functionality yet. And when I say parking functionality, we do not have pre-selection parking, like where you can select how you want to be dropped off or parked prior to the beginning of the trip. But yeah, so we were over there, and unfortunately I had to move over manually a little closer so that the parking spot would show up on the UI. So yeah, great trip. So another Wichita, Kansas FSD drive in the bag. I've got a few more. I'm obviously not going to do it on this trip because we're heading back tomorrow, but few more things I'd like to do. I'd like to go out to Wichita State University, take a look around there, maybe look at some of the couple of the neighborhoods around here. But yeah, there's always different things you can find use cases for. Eventually, one day, when we have ubiquitous autonomous EVs, autonomous robo-taxis, roaming around the country. And so, hey, when I'm in Wichita, let me find those use cases. And I've done 2 of them, downtown Wichita and now the airport for Wichita. So yeah, I'm thinking the college, the primary university in Wichita, which is Wichita State, and then maybe some of the major neighborhoods that would commute into downtown or the industrial area. So yeah, well, all right, everybody. I'm about to shut it down. I may not talk to you again for a few days because, like I said, I will be on the road all day long, heading back home. And obviously, I'm not going to film a 9-hour drive. And I know the Beaumont one was like, oh my Lord, 4 hours. But that one, I was like, oh, that'd be cool. And plus, to be able to see some things maybe on rural 2-lane highways that might be interesting. But 9 hours on the interstate, no, nobody's going to be interested in looking at that because we all know it works on the interstate perfectly. So yeah, so may not see you for a couple of days until I get back to Porter and our greater Houston area, and yeah, have my first full day back on Friday. So we'll see. But until then, I hope you're having a great week. I hope you continue to have a great week. And if I don't see you again before the weekend, hope you have a great week leading into a great weekend. And I love all of you. And I will talk to all of y'all again soon. Bye-bye.